Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I love wasting. I love wasting. I get free. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Wonderful is happening to me right now. Don't you feel it? Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh yeah, I accept things the way they are. I will. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the center.
All right.
How you doing today?
All right.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
Right.
Good morning. And welcome to the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living. Everybody, please get comfortable in your seats. Go into that sacred space that we create here every week. Take a deep breath. Inhale the good. Exhale anything that is not good. Inhale again. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, one of my favorite quotes, he says, "There's a power for good, and we can use it if we choose." So right now, let's just dwell within on that power for good that Dr. Holmes talks about. And let's use it. If we choose to, we can use this power. And for the next few moments, let's go within to that innermost spot, which we all can find peace, joy, and comfort in knowing that good is in each and every one of us. So let's go into that silent spot right now for the next few moments and just dwell upon that good that's not only in us, but in each and every person in this sanctuary this morning. And as we continue, our service will continue to unfold with that powerful good, with divine expression we'll see right here, right now, in this very moment. It'll be a glorious service, a wonderful morning, with an inspired message, music, and fellowship. I invite you to open your eyes, and our service will unfold with that beauty that we always have. And so it is.
So it is. And if it's comfortable for you, please allow my words to be your thoughts as I speak on the first person. As I welcome the silence, I know that within the silence is an invisible intelligence, a divine intelligence that lives within. As I breathe the silence, I breathe that intelligence. Now I am one with it. Wherever that source is, I am. This intelligence is the source of everything. It's the source of abundance, the source of health, the source of joy and laughter, the source of love. Anything that I need, I have. It is within. And as I declare this month, November, the month of gratitude, I open my heart, I start my journey with gratitude. In my journey that I call life, there are many steps. I can always move on. Sometimes the steps will be joyful and happy, others not as joyful or happy. But I know that as long as I am in alignment with that that knows all, I know that I am guided, protected, and taken to my better place. In my journey of life, I choose to travel light. I let go of anything that carries too much weight. I let go of judgment of myself or others. I let go of anger. I let go of self-distraction. And I'm taking with me, to travel with me, joy and laughter. I'm taking love and compassion, understanding. I can always ask when I'm confused or in doubt to that intelligence that knows more. I have faith that it will take me only to a highest place. I am so grateful for being where I am today, right now. I am so grateful for all my past experiences, either good or bad, as they have taken me here to the platform, to my next step, where I can choose. I'm always choosing. It's up to me to choose if I want to travel first class or economy. But even if I travel on economy, it's up to me to choose how to make it happen. This month, November, is open to gratitude. I am grateful for this center, which if it wasn't here, I wouldn't be here. I am grateful for Reverend Dan, Reverend Stacy, Reverend Cheryl, because if they were not here, this teaching wouldn't be understood. I am so grateful for Patty and Dave and Martinique, because without them, it wouldn't be as much fun. I am so grateful for all the volunteers that make coffee, bring bagels, cut the cakes, set up for potlucks, because without them, it will be no community. I am so grateful for all the practitioners that are here, open to listen, with an open heart, because without them, I'll go home with a broken heart. I am so grateful to be alive, to be living here today in these times. And as I release my word, I believe that there is a law that brings to me exactly what I want and what I believe. I believe all is possible. I believe all can happen. I believe my life can be the greatest. I believe there's magnificence within me and without all in this room. I'm also so grateful for anybody that is here in this center that came today, for all the new people that we can love and practice our principles. And with a heart full of gratitude, I release my word, my prayer to the Lord, which is done as I believe. I believe, and therefore it is done, and so it is.
Well, we knew there was a problem in my son's household in 2016, and I began to suspect that there was drug use going on, and I was correct. When parents are no longer able to provide a home for their children, the person best able to do that is always going to be a relative first, and foster care should always be the last option for a child.
The child involved is going through all these changes, and you know, they're losing their parents, and although those parents might not have been the best, that's all they know.
Our granddaughter, the decision was made to bring her here. As a grandmother and a relative, the majority of us do not qualify for any financial aid. That takes away certain services that would be a benefit to these children.
When I first moved out here 7 years ago, I started working with kids. The kids that I had first started working with were all relative placements. So they were living with their grandparents or their great aunt. And so I started doing some research and realizing that kinship care, there was like a gap.
Foster kinship has given us the tools we need to become the best advocate for our granddaughter. They are our go-to.
Everybody that works there has a passion for it. Most of them are kinship caregivers like me, and we're able to understand our clients and tell them, hey, I know where you're coming from. I know you're frustrated. Let us help you out. We'll have caregivers calling in crisis like, hey, I'm out of diapers, you know, I don't know what to do. And we're able to say, you know, it's going to be okay. Come in, we'll have a pack of diapers for you.
Our lives were so much better. Her life was so much better because now we had somebody to get her enrolled, to get medical treatment, to get therapy, and just to have somebody to talk to.
These kids are worth it, and if we want to see them thrive and have vibrant futures, we have to invest in them now while they're young. It's so worth it.
Beautiful.
And I'd love to bring up the beloved Allie. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Allie. I'm the founder and director of Foster Kinship, and I am so grateful to be here today. This is going to be the 6th year that the center is partnering with us on Thanksgiving meals for children in kinship care. And as you saw, there are so many kids who can't be with their parents, but instead of being in foster care, they're with relatives. And that's the best place for them. But sometimes these relatives don't have the support that foster parents would receive. And that's what we're here to do, is to fill that gap. And the center called us 6 years ago. Tina called me and said, our church wants to do something to help grandparents raising grandchildren. And foster kinship had just started. And your organization, your congregation, your leadership team, and Tina has been walking alongside us since we started as a small organization. And we're still small, and we're trying to do big things, and we can do it because of the support that your congregation provides. So thank you for filling a box for our families this year, for the 6th year in a row. If you have any questions, I'll put some cards of mine on the table. And our office is just down the street on Cheyenne, and we invite anyone to come see what we do anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the theme for the month is health and prosperity. And the title of my talk today is Your Fortune Begins in Consciousness. There's always a risk when a minister stands up and starts to talk about one of my favorite things, money. And we're going to get all, what? Comfortable about talking about money. I joked earlier today, I said, you know, Cher once said, I've been rich and I've been poor, and rich is better. So, several weeks back, I began the process of putting this talk together. That happens at 4:30 in the morning. It's my spiritual practice time. And it involves some reading and praying and writing sermons. And it's quiet. And I have my journal, and I have the size of my textbook. And I happen to have Mae McCarthy's book, The Path to Wealth. And then there's calm meditative music, and there's coffee, my lovely coffee, with holiday pumpkin spice creamer, gently floating as a cloud. And so, I'm sitting in the silence with my deep, rich coffee. And the idea of wealth came up for me. And I literally said, yeah, about that, universe. What about my wealth? What about my fortune? And because I was receptive, what came forth from the infinite mind was very powerful. And so the God of my being said this, you know what, Reverend Dan, you were always meant to be wealthy. As a matter of fact, your wealth, a great fortune, has always been waiting for you. Now here's the thing, Reverend Dan, your wealth has always been ready for you. You have not been ready for your wealth. And so what the universe revealed to me is that my abundance and I are both existing in the universe. It literally looks like oil and water, both in the same container, but not even touching each other. I mean, we're literally together, but we're not one. We're not in the same vibration. We're not in the same frequency. And the universe says, you know, you are both existing, but you are not coexisting. I got a little belligerent. I said, now, hold up, wait, what are you trying to tell me here, sweetie? Because I'm going to tell you something. I've literally, even back in my old Catholic Christian days, I have been up every morning at 4:30 a.m. for years. And I have sat, and I have prayed, and I have read, and I have journaled, and I have visualized, and I have affirmed. And you know what? The title of my talk says, and I know it to be true, my fortune begins with consciousness, so what? I should be a frickin' bazillionaire. And the divine said to me, that's it. That's it right there. You know what, Rev Dan? You remember that thought of being a bazillionaire. Because we're going to chat about that. And then the universe said, are you ready to go from existing with your wealth and your fortune around you to coexisting and living your wealth and your fortune? I said, why, yes, I am. And the God of my being said, devour the book. Devour May McCarthy's book. And I said, you know, I would really like to sit around and devour, but I have to go to work, and Reverend Stacy and Reverend Cheryl want me to write sermons. No time to devour. And the message came back. Devour the book. Because Reverend Dan, for this time and this time only, you get a universal 2 for 1. Because if you devour the book for this short, limited time, you will get to unlock the secret to your wealth, and you'll get a sermon to boot. And because I am smart, SMRT, I said, you know what? I'll devour the book. Now, you'll recall that May McCarthy was here a couple of weeks ago. Now, let me just mention how she spent the first part of her life. She says, I have been a founding member of many successful businesses since 1982 in a wide range of industries, including fashion, retail, telecommunications, healthcare, IT software, and inventory management systems. The largest company was staffed by over 250 employees with revenues that exceeded $100 million. She is no joke. And so she gave us a wonderful Sunday talk, and then she gave us an even more wonderful workshop, and it was all based on her book, The Path to Wealth, 7 Spiritual Steps for Financial Abundance. Now, for those that were here, a refresher. For those of you that may not have been here, just a bit of an introduction. She refers to God, the divine, the infinite mind, the universe, as her chief spiritual officer, her CSO. And she has a meeting with her CSO every single morning, 6 a.m., without fail. We've set the stage. And so I want to focus on a part of what she talks about. And it's really juicy. It's real juicy. Every successful business leader knows that a daily planning session and goal review with top management is vital to a vibrant and profitable company. Spiritual leaders agree. A daily spiritual practice is recommended in ancient and modern religious writings alike, as well as in houses of worship worldwide. Successful people in all areas of life set specific goals. They review them in a consistent manner, they focus on their skills, and they act on opportunities to achieve their goals. Countless examples tell us how daily practice methods can bring the blessings we seek. And now, this daily CSO practice will help you remain consistent and focused on your financial goals. So as I'm reading, the universe is starting to say something to me. She goes on to say, now the CSO, the Chief Spiritual Officer, is completely trustworthy. The CSO and I each have a job description and responsibility in the partnership and are competent to do what is ours to do. How does the process work? Put simply, you decide what you want and thank the CSO for it in advance. Now listen, the CSO's job is to create the path to get to the good you've defined and provide you with the direction to get there, one step at a time. Your job is to follow each step and sometimes ask for further direction if you need it along the way. As this process unfolds, you receive the good that you desire and celebrate. Well, her little CSO meetings kind of look and sound a little different than my meetings with the CSO. And I was fascinated when I came to the realization that when it came to money, I never really set goals. I never set specific financial goals. When I talked about it with the CSO, it was very, nebulous, it was kind of unclear, it was kind of vague. And that's sort of odd because in many other areas of my life, I could be very specific about what I wanted. I could set specific goals. But what I discovered for myself about this idea of wealth is that when it came to my desire to attract, manifest, and build wealth, I really never had goals. I would pray, I would affirm. It was very dramatic because I majored in theater. And I would say things like financial freedom. I would say things like super wealthy. I would say things like, I just want to be a bazillionaire. And I would affirm these things, and then I'd say, okay, I've done my job. Okay, my job is to know what I want. Now it's up to the universal law to figure out the how to bring it to me. And I just went along my day, never really doing anything more. And I realized that I never really did anything else specifically around the idea of wealth and fortune. And as I thought about it, I thought it was kind of like I was waiting for the universal pizza delivery man to show up, and the doorbell would ring, and I would say, "Hark, the doorbell ringeth," and I would go and open the door, and there would be a little pizza man, and he'd open the flap, and there would be money in there. And it was just somehow magically just going to appear. Now listen, I'm not saying that those things don't happen. But that was not my path. See, the way I was thinking about the pizza delivery magical man with the box full of money, that is very different than the CSO's job is to create the path to get to the good you've defined and provide you with direction to get there, one step at a time. Your job is to follow each step and sometimes ask for further direction if you need it along the way. Set your goals. Be specific. Honestly, I never came to my CSO meetings and really specifically said, this is what I want. This is how much money I want. These are my very specific financial goals. And CSO, so you know, and we have clear visions here, this is exactly where I am. This is exactly where I am, and this is where I see myself on this date, and on this date, and on this date. And CSO, I am completely open to how you think you are going to bring that to me. And I want you to know I am very open to doing whatever you think I need to do to reach those specific goals. Now, Dr. Holmes, in case we feel like we might be drifting away from the science of mind, because I have to face Stacy and Cheryl after. So to make sure we're still in the science of mind, Ernie, page 435 and 436 says this in the big book. We now come to a definite teaching regarding prayer. We shall receive that for which we ask. It shall be open to us when we knock, and we shall find that for which we are searching. This teaching implies the definiteness of spiritual and mental work. If we ask for bread, we shall not receive a stone. Prayer should be direct and specific, and should always be accompanied by a positive receptivity. God cannot answer prayers which have no meaning. The answer to prayer is in the prayer when it is uttered or thought. Jesus points to the fact that if we, being human and consequently limited, know how to give good gifts to our children, how much more will God give good gifts to those who ask? And he explicitly tells us to ask directly for what we want. Covered. Honestly, at the time that these revelations were being brought to me, if I had a meeting with my CSO and it came time to discuss my financial goals, there would be nothing specific. And the divine helped me to understand that that's a problem. Because you want to know what, Reverend Dan? You cannot achieve a goal unless you know what the hell the goal is. You cannot hit a target unless you can see the target. And Rev Dan, you best learn to be specific, because I don't have a clue what a bazillion is. Vagueness of financial goals. Vagueness of financial targets. A vague financial vision equals a vague financial experience. Dr. Holmes tells us that we are working with an intelligent law, and we must work with it intelligently. So I'm devouring the book. And I'm super energized by these new ideas and concepts, and I'm starting to work with my CSO in a whole new way. And what do you know? A coincidence. A very dear friend of mine from work came up to me and said, I need you to start getting ready. We're going to have a huge party in 2019. I said, well, you have come to the right place. So I took my colleague to lunch the next day. This is his story. I have his permission to share it with you. I am a Christian, he says. I am an average guy. I was a single parent for many years. I had some bad relationships. I made some poor choices. I've always worked, and I made solid money. In 2003, I bought a big, brand new house in Las Vegas. It needed a yard. So for $100,000, I had a beautiful yard put in, including a pool. By 2009, I found myself in financial distress. $40,000 in debt. And the company I worked for offered a credit counseling workshop that I went to. And then I read a book called The Total Money Makeover. You may have heard of it. He said, the first thing I realized I needed to do was to align myself with God. I had to get into alignment with God. He says, it's funny, once that alignment was right, everything else began to align itself. And I worked on changing my thinking, and I worked on changing my heart. He said, I literally lived every single moment of my life, every day in frustration. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. And what I started to understand was that by nature, I was a very generous person. And what I came to understand is that I believe that people are generous in nature. And I was eager to be generous, but my current financial picture and situation prevented me from really helping others, even including my own daughter. So after much prayer, after much direction from God, I realized that God wanted me to have freedom. And yes, freedom financially, but freedom in all areas of my life. Every day I would pray, and I was nudged to give, and I began to tithe. I began to give back to God. He says, remember, you can't have what you are not willing to give. Every day I would pray, and I was directed to set clear financial goals. The goals included, his number one top financial goal was to one day be able to tithe well beyond 10%. His financial goals included to be debt-free by a certain time, to pay off his home, and to live to help others. He said, I began to pay off my debt, and I kept myself in alignment by meeting with God every day. I prayed about my financial goals every day. And he said, when God gave me direction, when God gave me a sign, When God would show me that I needed to do something, and he emphasized this, he said, I did it. I did it. God gave him direction, and in 2010, he said, I sold my home with the big yard and the pool. I met my future wife, and together in 2012, we bought another home. We continued to stay focused on paying off our debt and not using debt. And we worked until we completely eliminated all of the debt in our lives. And as our financial world became freer, our goal every day was to look, to seek, and to find opportunities to help others. He talked about when a need is presented at his church, there was always that anxiousness about writing the check. He said, now when we see a need, I turn to my wife, she goes like this, we write the check, and we never flinch. We meet that need. He says it's an amazing journey to move beyond your own survival, to be free. He says, I have truly moved into what many would call wealth. This home that we bought in 2012, we will have paid off in full in 2019. We are planning to spend a bit of money to celebrate that event. As it booked me. He says, we have moved into living a spiritually and physically free life. And I mentioned to him, oh, I would love to share this with my center. And he said, free reign, carte blanche. But he said, I ask you to add this to whatever comments you make, and it is this. He says, my message is this. God wants this for every single person. What a great story. So where are you relative to your wealth? Where are you in the universe relative to your fortune? I realized that to have something different, I needed to do something different. So, I think we need to get up every day. I think every day we need to meet with our CSO. I think we need to take every day and align our consciousness with that fortune that is being stored for us, that is in storage for us. I think we need to move from this airy-fairy thing about money to being specific. What do we want? What are our financial goals? And yes, we follow the science of mind and we allow the law to figure out how to bring it to us. And then we remain open to take action when the CSO tells us we need to do something. Listen, when my CSO told me at approximately the same time as my friend that you really need to sell your house, I would have been so wise to have followed that advice. And let's begin to give. See, we can't receive where we're not willing to give. So we have to examine how we're giving. If you are giving, examine what you're giving. If you've never given before, now is the time to start. We're not talking about emptying your checking account at the center right now. Not this moment. We'll let you build up to that. Contrary to what it looks like, obviously we're interested in your money. We have bills to pay. But as ministers, we are responsible for teaching that your level of giving has something to do with your level of receiving. How are you giving? I am ready for my fortune. And I ask you, are you ready for your fortune? Are you ready? Listen, if this is the kind of meeting you plan on having with your CSO, you should probably just sleep in. Are you ready for your fortune? All right, we'll be meeting at 4:30 a.m. Bring your coffee. I love you all. Namaste. So I just take this moment to remember that there is only one. There is only one power, one presence, one energy, one infinite intelligence. There is only one life. It is God's life, and it is my life now. And what I know to be true for me, I know to be true for each and every person hearing the sound of my voice. Each person here is God expressing itself in a radically unique way. I approach this prayer a little differently today because I see all these incredible children. And so I just declare that right here and right now, that every leader in this world, every leader of every country, finds peace as the way to resolve conflict. And knowing that each leader seeks to understand, seeks to resolve, seeks to be at one. And so I give thanks. I give thanks for life. I give thanks for this teaching that teaches me how to live this life. I give thanks for my CSO, whose ultimate goal is to see me and each and every person in this room living financially and spiritually free. I give thanks knowing that each person leaves here today with a joyful heart, arrives to their next destination safely, and I know each person here has the most amazing week of their life up to this point. So in gratitude, I simply say thank you, and I release my word into the powerful workings of the law. I know that it is already done. So I relax, I let go, I let God, and together we say,
And so it is.
Sing.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we.
Purpose Room and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
I know this in my mind.
I know this in my mind.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
And so it is.
And so it